I recognize one of them. Hola a todos, buenas tardes. Se está uniendo algunos compañeros, ¿vale? Entonces vamos a esperar un par de minutos que puedan acceder todos a la grabación, a la presentación y vamos a empezar. Os pido, por favor, que os silenciéis los micros, pero que dejéis las cámaras abiertas, ¿vale? Porque así, bueno, pues nosotras vemos que hay gente detrás de los nombres y para nosotras también es más fácil. Entonces, ahora os voy a dar un poco también las indicaciones mientras que se están conectando el resto de compis y empezamos, ¿vale? ¿Me oís todos bien? ¿Me podéis levantar los dedos si oís bien? ¿Sí? ¿Todos? Venga, perfecto. Pues eso quiere decir que funciona. Estamos grabando la sesión, ¿vale? Para que luego también os la vamos a mandar para que podáis volver a verla o si os ha quedado alguna duda, bueno, pues podáis verla también con más calma. Yo soy Irene, soy la directora de programas académicos en Interway. Yo creo que algunos de vosotros me visteis cuando estuvimos en la presentación en Tenerife. Y está también mi compañera Paloma Robles, que estuvo con vosotros en la presentación también el día que estuvimos allí con vosotros en Tenerife. Vamos a hacer la presentación en inglés porque como ya os adelantaba cuando os mandamos el enlace de la reunión, tenemos mucha suerte de contar con dos compañeras de Canadá que ya están trabajando en vuestros perfiles y en vuestras aplicaciones. Así que vamos a hablar en inglés toda la presentación. Luego finalmente abriremos una ronda de preguntas que también os pediremos que por favor las hagáis en inglés. Si no os atrevéis, las podéis hacer en español y nosotros las traducimos, ¿vale? Pero sí que es importante que hagáis el esfuerzo de preguntar las cosas en inglés. So we are going to start. We are very happy and really thankful for having here Charlie Lee, that is the COO of the company in Canada we work with, and also with Janet Steven, that is the manager of CIS, that is the company we work with in Canada.
Hola.
So, as I said, they don't speak Spanish, so we are going to do the presentation in English. We are going to do it, slow and trying to pronounce as better as we can and getting notice that all the messages are correct and correct to understand by yourself. But if you don't understand anything, at the end, you can ask questions. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen and we are going to start with the presentation. Can you see the presentation properly? Yes? Okay. So, as you know, we are going to have some online training, some workshop, and today we are here to speak about homestay. As you know, homestay is a key piece of your program. You are going to attendance to a public high school in Windsor, and you are going to be living with a host family in Canada. So here we are going to try to help you to adapt your expectations to the reality regarding the host families. So I'm going to put it, I will try full screen. I think it's gonna be easier. No? You see the screen properly? Yes? Okay. So, as I said, I want to introduce my colleague Paloma Robles and also Charlie and Janet that are from MLI group that will be working with your profiles that you have already submitted. And also from Interway, we have my colleague Paloma and myself. The goal of this presentation is to help you to understand what to expect in a Canadian homestay and prepare you for a successful and enjoyable experience. We will have other online workshops that we will speak about more focus on high school part, and we will have an overview, preparatory orientation also. But we now want to focus on the homestay and on the Canadian family part. So, what are the channels, the communication channels for the student? Cheryl.
Yeah, thank you so much, Irene. And it's really awesome to be here today with Paloma and with Irene. And we're in Spain, which is lucky for Janet and I to be in this beautiful country where it's very warm, whereas in Canada it's still colder. So we're feeling lucky to be here together. And Janet and I just are very glad to get a chance to meet you. We've been preparing in Canada and thinking about where will you stay, who will be your host family, which school will you be at, what will the weather be like when you arrive at the end of August, all those things. And today is just a chance for us to just talk a little bit more about the pieces that we think will help you to be really successful. And I know some of you have had a chance to perhaps travel in Europe or perhaps travel to North America or to other parts of the world. But I don't think it's so likely that you have lived with a family in Canada for a year. So this is a super big moment. And we really believe at Interway and at CISS that the communication between all of us is super important. And so when you look at this diagram, you can see on the diagram that you are in the middle. You are the exchange student and you are the center of this experience, not just for you, but for all of us. We're doing this to help you be successful. And so when you look on this picture, you can see that over on the left is Interway. And that is the team with Irena and also with Paloma and many other people who have been working to prepare for your plan to come to Canada this school year coming up. Your parents will be speaking directly with members of the team at Interway during the program if they need a little help or if they think maybe you need a little help. And that is their direct channel for support, but they're also going to be available to you. Although you're going to be living in a new family, your own family is always still the most important family. They are your number one mom, your number one grandma, your number one brother or dog or cat. And now you get to meet a new family. And that new family is going to do their very best to get to know you. And they're hoping that you will be curious and interested in knowing about them too. So when you look on this picture, you can see there's the line to the left that is to your natural parents, the NP. That's there every day. But of course, we're going to be in a different time zone when we're in Canada. We're going to be 6 hours different. So when they wake up in the morning, you should be sleeping. And when they go to bed at night, you're probably just finishing school. So one of the challenges is thinking, how often should we decide to talk between mom and me? How often should I talk with my brother? Should that be on Saturday morning? Should that be on Sunday afternoon? Are we going to talk by WhatsApp? Are we going to talk by a FaceTime call once a week? How are we going to talk? And that's something you can discuss with your family now to think about what works and what will be best. Because it's not going to be realistic to talk every meal or every day after school and tell them the same little details that maybe you talk about now. So that's something you can discuss at home and think about in advance. The other people in this circle are also super important. You see, number one is local coordinator. You'll actually meet your local coordinator the same day that you're going to meet your host family because they'll be there to welcome you when your host families are also there welcoming you at the arrival spot in Windsor. Those two adult groups are equally important to you. The people who are in your home, of course, you're going to be there in your pajamas. You're going to see them when you're watching TV at night. They're going to be the people that are going to help you figure out, oh my goodness, I have to do a presentation. Can I practice? They're going to be the people who are going to say, okay, we haven't done any exercise since last week. What should we do? Let's go for a walk with the dog. Whereas your local coordinator is a person who doesn't live in your home, but cares about you. They care about you every day. They might not see you every day, but they're always there to be your listener, to be your encourager, and maybe to help you get through something that feels maybe awkward to talk about with your host family. So we think of that person to be kind of like your special aunt or uncle in the community that's there to support you, but is just a little distant from being right in your living room or your kitchen. And then there's also the school counselors. And I don't know about in each of your schools right now in Tenerife, but in each of the schools where you are studying, there's somebody assigned to be your special support at the school. And it will be a different person, obviously, in each school. And even some of you who are at the same school might have a different person assigned as your school counselor. That's someone you want to meet in the first week because, again, they're just another adult who cares. They know your name. They've been waiting for you. They've helped pick your courses. They've thought about what are the things that might be interesting for you. And they're there for you, not just in the first week, but in the middle of winter when it's so cold and you're wishing you didn't forget your toque and you're thinking to yourself, oh, wow, when my host mom said this morning I should wear boots because it was going to snow, she was right. But that school counselor is still there in the building and is a person that you can talk to. And then in the background, Janet and I and a team of other people will also be available in the background just in case. And we will be talking regularly with your local coordinator and also regularly with Irene and Paloma. So we'll be working as a group to keep you supported. And I think the IPA in this case is actually Paloma. And you're coming with them,
Yeah,
right? Yeah.
yeah, I'm coming here, and I'm gonna be your EPA, in Spanish, IPA, which is gonna be easier for you. And I'm gonna be there for the first couple of weeks, so I'm gonna be helping you and giving you advice, whatever you need, so we can start this experience very smoothly.
Yeah, awesome. And you've already had a chance to travel abroad before.
Yeah, a couple.
Yeah.
So I worked being a chaperone in Canada, in the United States, in England, Ireland, and Finland, Germany, and France.
Yeah.
So
That's
I
a good
have
one.
experience. So it's gonna be very smooth, very, very easy for all of us. Okay, guys?
So that's really awesome to have that. And I think no matter who we are, some of us are really confident people and we're extroverts, and some of us are really confident people and we're introverts. And some of us maybe haven't thought about whether we're an introvert or an extrovert. And maybe some days we're one and some weeks we're another. And that's okay. But what we all know is that somebody other than maybe your mom can't read your mind. Maybe your dog can read your mind, but for sure, we can't read your mind. For sure, your host mom doesn't know when you make your mouth go a certain way what that means yet. So the best thing you can do is to think about how are you feeling and what is it that you're needing and be comfortable to talk about it. It's even if it's a little thing like, I don't know why, but I still feel like at night it's a little bit too dark in my room. Or maybe it's something like, you know, for me in the morning, I'm really used to having coffee, even though your kids aren't allowed to have coffee. Is there any chance I could join you in having a coffee? Or maybe it's something like, the teacher of my chemistry class, he slams the door shut and I'm in the bathroom and I really wanted to get into the room, but I was late. What do I do tomorrow when I have to do the same thing? Or any other question. All those things require you to be open to give it a try and just share what you're feeling or what you're thinking or what you need to know. And I think Irena has a really cool tip about that she shared with me today about the five rule. Do you want to share about that, Irena?
Yeah, absolutely. One question that it's really very important about communication is that you can communicate with your host family, with your host mother, with your host father, and with your siblings, your Canadian siblings. So we really ask you to ask at least 5 questions per day to the members of your host family. Whatever questions you would like to ask is like, how can I help for dinner? How was your day? What are we going to do for weekends? I want to plan to go to the cinema with my friends on Friday afternoon. Is this okay for you? So ask at least 5 questions every single day to your host family. Why? Because communication is really, really very important. At the beginning, you may be some shy. You may think what I'm doing here. But if you go and ask your host family, your host dad, or your host mother, how was your day? That's a key. It's like because you are showing interest on them. You are showing what is going on here. How can I help you? What we are going to have for dinner? Can I help you to prepare that? So it's very important that you trust your host family and you gain the trust of them on you. And how do you do that? Communicating with them, asking them questions and showing and explaining about how was your day in the high school, how was your day in the extracurricular activities, and be part of those host family and showing interest on them. If you go to the host after school and you go directly to your room, you are not going to communicate with them. And they are expecting you to communicate and to be part of their daily life, right? If you go to your room, and even more, if you close the door of your room, you are not going to be asking for anything because they're going to respect you and they are not going to knock, knock, it's dinner time. So if you are in your room and you are changing clothes, for sure, close your door. But if you are only there just, doing your homeworks or just hanging out there, our recommendation always is go where the host family is in the house. If they are in the backyard at the beginning, there is a good weather, go there and ask to be there. Just sit there. She's reading a book. Okay, what are you reading? What is the book about? I like reading. I don't like reading. I prefer movies. I prefer speak about yourself. Share your concern. Share what your day was and ask at least 5 questions. If something goes wrong with the host family, Paloma and I are going to ask you, what was the 5 questions you did yesterday to your host family? And if you say, no, it's like, okay, start today. Let me know what 5 questions are you going to ask your host family? And we will follow up on that. Because if you don't do your best, there's no way to complain. Okay?
I love it. I love it. I almost wonder if we should try doing it even before we go to Canada and see if we can ask our mom 5 questions each day in August. I bet you'll discover that it takes some practice to think of 5 new questions so you're not asking the same ones every day. As long as they're sincere, right? As long as you really mean it when you ask it and you take time to hear the answer. And it might be, tell me a story about what it's going to be like in winter here, even if it's still warm. It might be something not even about this moment. It might be something about the future or the past. Or have you ever traveled outside of Canada? And then it just gets them talking and sharing about their life. And I think all of us love to talk about ourselves.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe too much sometimes. But we want to hear about you, and I know the families want to hear about you. And for sure, they would love to tell you about their life and even how they came to live in that house or in Windsor, or about their own parents or about their own childhood and where did they go to school. So those are great things to talk about. And I think the second point on the sheet is let's try our hardest not to compare. And that's generally not just about our experience in our homestay, but about even like, okay, well, how's your chemistry teacher? Well, mine gave us already 3 assignments and it's only like the first week. It's hard to not compare. It's natural to compare. We'll be comparing between our experience at home versus our experience in Canada. We'll be comparing our experience in my house versus the experience in Paloma's house. We'll be comparing even the differences between kids in one part of Windsor from kids in another part of Windsor. But we're really each just having our own story, right? And I'm sure even if you were to talk amongst your group of you that are coming together, how you spend your evenings at home will be different from house to house. And that's what makes you the great family that you are. So I think we need to sort of be just open to, wow, this is a chance to see inside another way of living. And we already know our own way. So let's try to have a new experience that's probably pretty different. But maybe there's some similarities that really are wonderful, and maybe there's some differences that are equally wonderful that maybe I'll even try to do when I go back home and share when I get back to my life back at home. You're going to for sure have heard about Canada as being multicultural. We're a young country. We haven't been around for very long. We are only just a few hundred years old in one way. In another way, we're a very old country too. We've had Indigenous people and plants and trees on our beautiful land of Canada for a very, very, very long time. But we're recent as a country of Canada. And each year, people have moved to Canada from around the world to start a new life and to create a new opportunity for their family. And so all of us that are Canadian are really maybe one generation, maybe 2 generations, maybe 3 generations since the parents moved from somewhere else. And Janet, where is your family from?
So my parents were born in the Czech Republic and Poland.
Yeah.
So
And so
yeah, my
that's
parents were
only one
immigrants.
generation, right? Yeah. And you might even meet some host families who actually came when they were young themselves and now are parents and now are ready to be a host family and are now settled as Canadians. Then there's families like mine who kind of, I feel like they've been here for forever. I think that my great great grandma was the first to come from Scotland, and my great 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 grandfather came from England. But that's not so common anymore. When you walk down the streets of Windsor, you're going to meet people who have arrived 10 years ago, 3 years ago, 50 years ago, maybe third generation. It'll be a beautiful mix. And some of those won't be obvious when you look at the people, and some of them might keep a family accent from the country that they're from, even though they might be second generation, because their first language as children might not have been English. So you're going to see this really beautiful mix of humans. And I invite you to really learn about that and about the cultural differences they have, maybe different religions, maybe different traditions, um, maybe, I don't know, just even how they dress and what they see as beautiful might be different from home to home. And I need Paloma's help with the next one in yellow that says just to
Guys,
be beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and I think we've talked about that already. Just being open and being um, just appreciative of the little things. Like, oh wow, thank you for helping me figure out how to buy some better, warmer boots. Or, oh wow, thank you so much for hearing me say that I really, really love to make tuna sandwich and that you bought me that tuna when you don't like tuna. Those little moments of appreciation are what your host parents are going to really notice.
we
And
will
and
also suggest that sometimes you just write down a note of thankful and put it in the fridge. It's
yeah,
like
what a
thankful
good
for
idea.
hosting me. I'm very happy here. Thank you for going to somewhere else you have gone, or thank you for pick me up at the soccer match, or thank you for, and you just write out a note and you put it on the fridge, or you give in the kitchen. Just a note. You didn't need to buy something special. Just write it down
No,
a note of thankful. That is also really important for the host family that open the doors of your home to you. So be thankful. It's always in Canada. There are three words that they are using every single time. They are laughing because that's true, and they know that's true. That is, please, thank you, and sorry.
Sorry.
So
Sorry.
sorry, as long as if you start using those words since the first beginning, please, thank you, and sorry, your adaptation will be easier with the host family, with your teachers, with the local coordinators, with whatever you speak with. Please, thank you, and sorry are mandatory in Canada. So let's introduce them in your language right now because it's going to be very helpful for you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Sorry, I just had to say it. Please. No, you know what? You're right. It just becomes instinctive. It just starts to be a habit, and then you notice other people are doing it too, and it just becomes a nice ending or beginning to a sentence. And it doesn't need to be complicated. It's just a little moment of like a smile. It's the same thing. A smile goes as far as a please or a thank you. So those are really good words to keep in your mind. We talk about planning. Well, I mean, the fact that you're here is a sign of how much you're anticipating and looking forward to this experience. You've put a lot into this already to apply. You've been interviewed. You've gone on meetings. You've chosen to come to this session. When you're there in Canada, a lot of that is in theory kind of done, and you can relax a bit because you made it. You're here. Like you've come to Canada and you're settling. And then it's going to be smaller stuff, like thinking about what you want to do on Saturday, or getting ready for a test that you have to study for, or wondering, okay, I came with 7 pairs of underwear. I'm on number 6, and nobody's talked to me about laundry. And it's like, am I turning my underwear inside out? Am I going to grocery shopping to buy new underwear, or are they going to ask me about laundry? And I think you'll find they might not have thought of it. They might not have known how many pairs of underwear you brought. And they may think you're going to ask when you're ready to do that. So it's a super good idea to in that very first week say, I just wanted to know, like, in your home, how can I help with laundry?
That's one of the questions they can use.
There you go. That's one of the fun. And then the next question is how? Because I'm guessing it'll be a machine that's different than yours, or maybe they use a dryer, and maybe where you live, because it's warm, you hang your clothes on a line, and maybe your mom does it, and you've never done it before, and that's totally okay. It's something that maybe their teenagers are also learning as they grow, or if their teenagers have already gone and are at university or are young adults, they might have to be reminded, oh yeah, this new person in my home doesn't know how to use my washing machine. And it's really okay to say, can you help me with it the first time? Because I'm a little bit nervous about this. And even the second time or the third time, if you're not sure how much soap, or okay, can I mix this shirt with these underwear? Will this wreck them, or will this be okay? And even if your mom
Yeah, we also say that it's fine if you ask again how the machine works, but for the third time, record it in your mobile. So you have to push this button. Later, you have to turn on to the temperature. Later, you have to do the start, so you don't need to ask it again. It's like just recording the fingers. What are they moving around the machine, and when they are doing the dryer. So when you have the 4th time you're going to have to laundry, you watch the video and you eat the same point.
Brilliant idea.
Good
And
planning.
I think the host mom or dad or your host sister would actually love to be a movie star on your video and show you how she's probably never even thought before about the steps, because it's just so normal that it'll actually make them slow down a little bit and really think by showing you how to do it. So that's just about think ahead a little bit, because if you leave it till you're actually on that Saturday morning and there is no more underwear, that's going to be a really awkward moment,
And
right?
don't bring 85 pairs of
No,
underwear.
it's not
That's not
necessary.
a solution either.
It's not, but we don't tend to do laundry every day.
Not every day,
No,
of course.
but in
No.
some countries they do.
Oh,
And we often will have like, it's a certain day of the week that we do laundry. And often we'll have a basket in our bedroom. And then once a week we'll bring our basket to the laundry room and it'll be our turn. So that'll differ from house to house, because I bet if I ask Janet what they do at their house might be different than what I do at my house. But each family will have a suggestion of where you should put your dirty clothes, and then how they were either going to be mixed with the other kids' clothes or other people's clothes, or whether you're going to do your own as your own separate unit.
and if they separate by
And
colors,
Yeah, yeah.
everything is
you need to
fine.
ask.
So we go ahead that don't compare your experience. Some families do once per week the laundry, other ones do twice. So don't compare in these little things or even in bigger things how your experience goes.
Mhm. That's so true. And then the last point, just before we switch, is about trust. And I think trust is something you've earned between each person in your home over your whole life, right? You've grown to trust your mom's opinion about things. Your mom has grown to trust that when you say, I'm going to be home right after my soccer practice, that you're going to be there. We each have that, we build that week over week. And you're coming into a new place where it's going to have to be kind of like fast trust building. So it comes with just being open, but not just assuming stuff. Just being willing to ask, and then do your very best when you say, I will do X by X time in the beginning, even just be a couple minutes early. And if you think you're going to be late, then that's when you want to know, how do I tell you if I'm going to be late? Do I send you a WhatsApp message? Do I text you? Do I phone you? If it's in the daytime, is the rule different than in the night? If it's warm outside, is it different than when it's minus 20 below? Yes, it might be minus 20 below one day. And the rules can be different by season because of just safety, right? So just ask the questions. Ask about those little things, and I think it'll come really naturally for you. Thank you. Thank you, Irene. So again, we said about not comparing. I think we've talked about that. That's something that is natural to do, but important to think about. Why am I comparing? Is it because there's something wrong where I am, or is it just different? And sometimes just by making that subtle thinking moment, okay, why am I comparing? Is there something wrong here? And if it's wrong, you absolutely should let us know immediately if something is not okay. If something doesn't feel safe, if something doesn't feel comfortable, it's totally okay to reach out for help, either to your host mom or to your local coordinator or even to our emergency line. You always, always can ask for help. There's always somebody ready. And you're going to get an app on your phone that also has a place where you can punch a button to reach out for help. So there's always going to be a way to access help if you need it. But most of the time, when we're comparing, it's probably more because we're thinking, that looks a little bit better over there. Or, that's a little bit weird over there. And that's not really, I think, what this program is about. So I think if we keep that in mind, the rest will come naturally. And I think just in the next points here, keep in mind it's not going to happen instantly. It's going to take time to settle in. And people talk about the culture shock and about, the first week is like this and the third week is like that and the 10th week is like that. It's going to be different for each of you. It's not going to be the same. But when you start to feel like, wow, this is really hard. It's not happening as fast to make a friend, or I still don't really understand what they're talking about at the dinner table, or wow, I have homework in this subject and I do not have a clue how to do it. It's really, really okay to say, yeah, I'm not getting this yet. I need help. I'm not adapting fast enough to this. I need some more help. And there's lots of adults to help. And there's even other students at the school that can help. So we can support each other. And I don't know if it will happen for you, but there could be a moment where you feel like, I can't make this work. This doesn't feel like I can fix my relationship with my host brother or my host mother. I just don't feel like this is good. When that idea comes into your head, that's a time to reach out to your local coordinator and just say, oh, I just kind of, can we meet for a coffee, or can we meet for a Tim Hortons donut, or can we go for a walk? And maybe you can talk it through, because changing homestays is often not the solution. It may be just about what Irena was saying about communication. Maybe just that we're not hearing each other. We're missing the message somewhere. There's something that it's not connecting in a good way. So please know that team is there, and ultimately, so is Paloma, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. How would someone reach out to you if they needed to do that? How would they do it, by email, or what would be the way that they would reach you?
They will have a couple of different ways. The direct one's gonna be WhatsApp. WhatsApp's gonna be quite fast for messages, and if it is an emergency, of course,
Emergency line.
yeah, you're gonna have an emergency line. So you will have the opportunity to be in touch with anyone who's gonna help you better. So if you have problems at school, of course, you're gonna go to your school counselor. If you have problems with your host family, as Irene said, and as Irene said, you have to talk with your family, and later, if it doesn't work, you have to go to the local coordinator. If you have any kind of problem with your, I don't know, with whatever, if you have doubts about your credit card, of course it's gonna be easier to talk with your family. Yeah, you just have to be in touch and communicate yourself, because this is not something that is exclusive for your families, for your host families. You have to communicate with everyone, because as Cheryl said, we don't read minds. We cannot know if something's wrong if you don't tell us.
Yeah.
Do you all understand?
Good. Thank you so much, Irene. So this is just to highlight what we've talked about a little bit through the conversation so far, that I don't know in your cases, if we were to draw a picture of your family tree, if you each would have the same tree. I think not. I think we each have our own family tree. Some of us have a bush. I always say I have a bush because I have a few step parents. Some people are lucky to have some brothers or sisters. Some of us are lucky to be the only child in our family. Some of us are fortunate to have stepsisters or stepbrothers in our family. Some of us might have a grandma that lives with us, or perhaps a good family friend or uncle that lives in our home. When you get to Canada, same thing. It's going to be really different from house to house. It might be a single mom. It might be a family with one dog. It might be 3 adult children that live with one parent, and then you join into that family bush. In any case, the goal is that every family that we choose to be matched with you is somebody who cares, somebody who has a proper room for you, who has a heart ready to be open to care for you, and has time in their life to help you find your way. They're not going to be your puppet show entertainment, but they're going to be people that help you find your path, and offer you options and give you space to have your own time and your time with friends as you build them, but also has a desire to hang out with you and actually get to know you for who you are, and help you figure out how to make your time in Canada the very best it can be. And our families, some of them go to church every Sunday. Some of them won't even go to church at all. Some of them might go to synagogue or to a mosque. Some of them might just go into a quiet room and meditate and not actually go anywhere. And others just have their beliefs quietly, and it's not part of their daily life. And you're going to see families that have maybe hosted someone before, and other families that are doing this 100% for the first time, and they're learning exactly at the same time as you are. And even if they've hosted before, it doesn't mean that they're not as excited about hosting you. They're doing it because it's a choice they're making to help another person. And this is one of the ways in their life that they're paying it forward, that they're choosing to open their time to another person to make your experience better. Sometimes it's because maybe they did it when they were younger and they want now to have a chance to host. There's all different reasons why people, so that's a good question to ask. Like, what made you decide to be a host family? Like, that could be an interesting conversation.
We are giving them lots of questions.
This is good. This is good. And I guess just know that it's really, really helpful if you think of dinner time every day as your very best time to chat. Same as if you're going for a car ride, maybe you're living just a little bit out of Windsor and you're coming into Windsor, it's a really good time to have a conversation with the parent, because you kind of get them all to yourself. And the parents are going to think about that about you too. When we're at the dinner table, it's pretty normal that there's no cell phones. It's pretty normal that the focus is just on each other, even if it's just for 30 minutes. That's kind of when we stop and we just not just enjoy the food, but enjoy each other. So expect when you get your profiles in summer that they're going to be different from what you live in now as a family structure, and that's going to be part of the adventure. So this is the cultural adaptation, and I don't know, Janet, do you want to talk about this a little bit? I know you're looking at this for the first time, but I know you also live this in your life and share it with students all the time.
Yeah, so hi everybody. So this is I mean culturally, Windsor's not going to be super different than what you have in Europe, but there will be some differences, and you can see differences, as Cheryl mentioned, maybe in the culture of your host family. Your host family might have come from somewhere else, and they're bringing some of those traditions and putting them together with Canadian traditions. We want you to take advantage of any festival or anything that happens while you're in Windsor. But at the same time, to be open and, to learn, but also be respectful if it's just maybe something that, maybe isn't something that you really like to do, but we ask you to try. Okay. We ask you to come with an open mind and an open heart, right? To welcome all the new things that you're going to experience. And things could be very different, and don't, the sort of we call it the roller coaster of culture shock, of cultural adaptation. It'll be really exciting at the beginning, and then you're going to miss your friends and your parents and your dog and maybe your boyfriend or your girlfriend. And that's okay, and that happens to everybody, and our team is going to help you get through those moments. They can talk to you, and then you're going to come back around and you're going to come back up. And we encourage you at school to look at what clubs, extracurricular clubs or sports are available in your school that you can maybe get involved with. And that's something that your counselor at school can help you with. As Adine mentioned, Canadians are known for being very polite, and we are. We will always say, "Hi, how are you?" And that's a little tip. You'll hear people say, "Hi, how are you?" But that's just an hola. Okay, that they don't need to know how you're really doing necessarily. They're just saying, "Hi, how are you?"
We do that as well.
So the answer is, "I'm fine. How are you?" So that's a little Canadian tip. But no, but if obviously if you're not feeling well, or if you need to talk to somebody, as we've all said, you have a lot of adults who are going to care and support you. But we do value politeness. So hello, thank you, is always appreciated. Don't compare. We've talked about that. Join in, get involved. Your schools, each and every one of your schools has a lot of things going on outside of the classes. And the more you get involved, the more of a full experience you're going to have. Okay, it's not
And that
just
that
about,
applies at home too, right?
and that absolutely applies at home. If your host mom says, let's go for a walk, you say yes. If your host family says, I'm going grocery shopping, say yes, I want to come. Going to a
Okay,
grocery
no.
store in a new country is an experience in itself, right? I think our grocery stores might be a little different than your grocery stores.
I love
Or you're
Canadian grocery
Absolutely
stores.
different.
yeah, or you're gonna go and you're gonna say, "Oh, look, they have the same candy that I like at home." Right? Oh,
Colgate.
maybe I'll get a Kit Kat because you know what? We have Kit Kats at home too in Canada. But we also have lots of good Canadian candy. Try new things.
Costco.
Try all the new flavors of chips that we have in Canada that you've never tried before. So get involved, open yourselves up to everything that sort of your family or your school offers you, and you will have, as I said, a much more full and rich experience outside of the classroom.
Yeah,
And
thank you, Jen.
make it your experience.
Yeah. I don't know how many of you right now have a journal, but some of us have always had a journal, or we have a day timer where we write a little bit about what we did each day. I challenge you all in this year to try to get some beautiful little book that you love to write in. And even if it's just a couple of things you write each day, you will be so glad to look back at that. Even in month 2, looking back at month 1, or in month 4, looking back at month 1, or the next year when it's the next September and you go, oh wow, that's what I was thinking of feeling at the beginning. And you'll realize how helpful it is to write stuff down. It's a really awesome way of just getting out some of the things that are on your mind. And if you find yourself writing the same little worry multiple days in a row, then that's an example of something that maybe it's time to talk about with someone else. And or if it's just to track, okay, I went to the gym, or I walked to school today, or I helped make cookies on Saturday morning. It's just kind of another kind of therapy. And it's a really healthy practice to try, especially during this experience abroad. This is just really highlighting things that you already know, and that snow is probably a little more snow than you're going to get in Windsor. I think that's a big snowstorm. Let me just tell
That's a
you.
lot of snow.
But we have had some strange amounts of snow that have led to days in Windsor where they close the schools and they say this is a snow day, and everybody all is at home. Your parents may have to still go to their work, but you may get the day at home, and that may feel weird. Like, okay, so why is it a snow day for me and not for them? But schools are treated a little differently than all the workplaces. Obviously, hospitals have to stay open even in snow days, and some people's jobs are jobs that are considered essential, so they go to work. And others might be, instead of going to an office, they have an at-home work day. So they might be at home, but they might not be 100% available all day long to hang out and build a snow person with you. But it's definitely going to snow while you're there. And so I mentioned mitts, I mentioned toques, I mentioned a coat. I mentioned a coat to Paloma about 3 times.
About 4, actually.
Getting a warm coat is super important. And or thinking about, okay, I could do this layer, and then this is the thickest coat I have. And then maybe when you come, if it's not feeling like it's the perfect coat, we have some really fantastic thrift stores that have awesome coats that are from last year that are still in perfect condition, but somebody just wanted a blue one instead of a green one. And you can buy a coat that you would really love to have that will do the trick for those last few weeks of your visit in Canada. So be open to the idea that you can come prepared, but you may still need some more stuff. And just get involved and try it. Go out there and see what it feels like to be out in that snow, or see how you can join into, maybe you've never vacuumed before in a house, or maybe you've never been the person to load the dishwasher. Maybe you've discovered that, dad always does the garbage, but maybe that's something I can do to help with this family. So just think about ways to offer your help and to try some stuff you've never done before. And I think you're going to do great. And I think we have about 10 minutes or so left. And I'm going to turn it back to Irena to see if anybody has questions that they would like to ask of any of us women.
So we can ask questions to Janet and to Cheryl. So if someone wants to ask a questions, hands up, open your microphone, and you can start asking questions, or you can chat. If you feel more comfortable, you can also send the questions in the chat.
Yeah, for sure.
At these points, when there are not questions, I always ask me if we do perfectly, so everything is understood, or we do it really very wrong, that nobody understands anything. So please ask something. You have a great opportunity to ask them that they're Canadians. They know Windsor. In fact, she lives in Windsor.
I grew up in. Some of you will actually be attending the high school that I went to.
It's still there.
It's still there. And it hasn't really changed all that much.
Si no os atrevéis a hacer las preguntas en inglés, podéis hacerlas en español y nosotras, Paloma o yo, las podemos traducir. Entonces, no me creo que ninguno no tenga ninguna duda que hacer a Cheryl o a Janet sobre el programa y sobre las familias anfitrionas.
Por pequeña que sea.
Por
Yo os lo
pequeña
dije
que
en la
sea.
reunión, no hay preguntas tontas.
Consider this practice. You all have to ask your 5 questions every day. So start with 1.
We need 5 questions to go home, so start, please.
Guillermo, I'm sure you have a question. I believe you do. I know you do. What is it? What is your question, my friend?
Hello.
Hello.
Hi, Guillermo.
Hey, I'm going to say sorry. The Canadian way is to say sorry for putting you on the spot.
No problem. Should we bring like an plug adapter, like universal plug adapter?
Good idea.
Yeah.
Yes,
Our
please.
plugs look very different than yours.
Okay.
So
Thanks.
I
yes,
brought one here, so you bring one there.
it's a
Okay.
very
For sure.
good question, by the way.
Sí,
Yeah.
ellos tienen
And-
allí el que tiene 3 ranuras, ¿vale? Entonces, llevaros un adaptador, no hace falta que llevéis 200, con que os llevéis uno para el primer día es más que suficiente, y luego le vais usando pues eso, cuando carguéis el móvil o tenéis que cargar la tablet y demás, pero sí que recomendamos que llevéis uno desde aquí, desde España.
Y preguntad a vuestras familias si tienen hair dryer, porque el que llevéis de España no va a funcionar.
Secador del pelo,
Secador del pelo no va a funcionar, ¿vale?
C'est vrai.
hair
Oh,
dryer.
c'est
Are
vrai.
you asking them to bring one?
Got
Yeah.
it.
The
No,
voltage
we are
is so
asking
different
that
that
maybe
it's
the
gonna
one
be
you
like,
bring, they are not working.
Oh.
Don't bother to bring your blow dryer.
No, the host families have hair dryers.
Thank you, Guillermo.
So next one, Gema, te ha tocado.
Guillermo,
Gema
perdón.
Ibars. Next one question.
Agatha has a question. I know she does.
You are volunteering, Gema. Come on, open your micro. Go
Hello.
ahead.
Oh, Gemma.
Hello.
Hi.
My question is, what time does it start to snow?
Every year is a little bit different, but it's typical to see snow in late November, but to see snow on the ground that doesn't go away is maybe not while you're there. It may be in December and it may not.
She looks happy.
But it could also be a snow day.
Thank you.
Okay, more volunteers? More volunteers?
See, I think Kayla's next.
We should bring any present, like any gift to the families.
You know what? I'll be honest with you. They're not expecting a present. Your smile is worth so much. One thing that's super nice to do is to bring some photos of your family, either on your phone or even if you have a little book that shows some pictures of your family, your grandparents, your town where you live. But if there's something really delicious and small that you think you would love to have, but you'd also love to share, you could maybe bring that. I don't know if there's something your family makes, like a certain kind of cookie, or maybe there's a certain, I don't know, some small little souvenir that you think might be something special, Agatha, from your home or from your community. And I think maybe Irene has some suggestions as well.
Please, no food, absolutely no alcohol or wine.
In immigration, we cannot.
Because immigration, we can have
We
troubles
cannot
in
bring
immigration,
salmon
and
or
possibly
anything.
not olive oil. I know they are very,
Not-
recurrent and very casual presents for the host family, but we encourage you to don't bring food. For sure, not jamon, not chorizo,
No.
not something regarding with that we
No.
can have problems at immigration, not alcohol, not wine, and not olive
Not
oil.
cheese.
Because
Not
or not cheese. So what we will suggest to bring is like pictures, or for example, a little book of Tenerife, the place you live, so you can share with the host families, or something, maybe some cards to play with, or if they have a small children, some small game boards like a small parchís or un dominó, something that helps you to break the ice. I will say icebreakers to help you to start speaking with the host family about that. So pictures of the place you live, a little book about Tenerife and the island, and you have a lot of things to show about the place you live.
Yeah.
So this is a good idea to bring to the host family. But please, no food, no alcohol, no cheese, nothing regarding with olive oil.
So
No.
nothing to eat. No
Nothing to eat.
digestibles.
No digestibles, no.
Okay. Only things you can't swallow.
Yeah.
So
When I was
that's it.
when I was in Toronto with a group from Galicia, some of the students they brought stone Oreos. Well, it's a very Galician construction. So they brought some very, very small ones, like a souvenir.
Yeah.
And the host families were very excited about that. I don't know if you have any kind of, I don't know, something similar like a Draco de piedra.
Tenerife, volcán, Teide,
Yeah,
something
a small
regarding with the
Teide, something like that.
volcano.
Maybe that's a good option as well.
Yeah, good idea. Yeah, I'll have to tell you a story about the Oreos after.
Really?
I had no idea what they
So-
were for so long.
More questions, or are we done? So
Come
good.
on, guys.
Rodrigo, I have
Okay,
a feeling
Rodrigo.
that you have a question in your mind that you don't know if you can say. No questions. Una pregunta. Por favor. No?
Kayla?
Okay, it sounds
No.
like we
No.
may have hit a good amount of questions and answers then.
And a good job.
So thank you very
I
much,
just want to
Gail.
say,
Aw.
oh, okay.
No, go ahead,
I was
Shirley.
just going to say, first of all, thank you very much,
Mm.
Paloma and Irene, for hosting us today and helping us to bring these beautiful people to Canada. But to each of you, I will ask you when you say goodbye from us to please go say thank you to your mom and dad or your parents for their huge trust in us and their belief in you to go on this incredible life adventure. It's really, really special. And you are very special people to be selected to go on this. And I just want to say congratulations for being one of the ones chosen. And I know you're going to represent your family beautifully in Canada. And I'm sure you're also going to represent your country. And your people that you meet may not know so much about where you're from. So it's a chance to teach them a little bit more about just about how life is where you live. And they're going to be curious. So start thinking about the stuff you can talk about in those 5-question story and answer periods. Yeah. And Janet,
Gracias.
Well, thank
thank
you,
you so much.
everybody. It was
Gracias.
wonderful to see all of your faces on screen, and we can't wait to see you in September.
Okay.
Gracias, chicos. Recibiréis la grabación por email a lo largo de la semana, ¿vale? Para que también la podáis volver a ver si os ha surgido alguna duda. Y ya sabéis que cualquier cuestión nos podéis escribir un correíto, nos podéis escribir un WhatsApp al número de teléfono que ya tenéis. Y en cuanto podamos, nosotras os vamos dando respuesta. Que tengáis una buena tarde y muchas gracias a todos por estar hoy aquí.
Bye for now.
Chao.
Bye.